Okay, I think we're live. Let's double confirm this very quick.
I can look too. I think we're live.
I think we're live. I'm just going to double confirm it. Oh, come on, computer, don't hate me.
Yep, we're live. I see my friend Vanessa and Jennifer and Anna.
Okay, awesome. So I wanted to make sure that was set good. It doesn't show on mine, but it's showing on other people's.
Yeah, it's the live comments. We've got Vanessa's here, Jennifer's here, Anna's here. So we are live.
Awesome, perfect. So I'll keep an eye on the comment. Okay, hi everybody, and welcome to RM Podcast FL. Today we have Andrea Warren. Hello, how are you today?
Oh, great. How are you?
I'm great. I'm awesome. Too much energy, too much caffeine.
Yeah, well.
So as I mentioned before, for all my audience, we're doing something different with RM Podcast FL. I know a lot of people are home nowadays because of what's going on around the world. So my mission is to help everybody learn at least something new each episode, like I've always said. But I want to be your friend and help you out more throughout the process of, sometimes being stressed out, being nervous. And I thought, who best to bring in somebody to talk about the essentials of meditation and relaxation. So I want to pass on the mic to you.
Oh, no. Okay.
Go ahead and introduce yourself. I don't know anybody else that knows more about you than you.
Boy.
So.
Wow, that's I just feel like now I cannot disappoint. I'm going to have to give a lot of valuable information, as you always do here on your podcast. Every time you bring somebody on, so I know the bar is set pretty high for me, but hopefully I can at least get there. My name's Andrea Warren. I'm a certified health coach, aromatherapist. I have been working with essential oils for almost 15, 16 years. I've been a formulator. I've done it from top to bottom. I won't bore you with all my credentials, but I was excited when I was invited to talk about how essential oils can get us through this process. And also, too, the big part for me is I kind of am, I know it sounds crazy, but I'm a little excited about this time because I think if we can teach people these modalities and they can take them forward, right? Not only use these now, but use them moving on, right? So we don't want to just say, hey, it's great to have great gut health right now, or it's great to eat well, or essential oils are important. You can use them now. And then, when you get out of this, because I think coming out of this is going to be hard for a lot of people, right?
Yes, it's going to be hard. And sometimes I feel like in one way or another, I feel like we all kind of needed this to kind of go back to square, to our roots and actually do some, I would say, soul searching and dig searching and some family time. So I hate to say this is the time, this is what's bringing us all together, but at the same time, I feel like we all kind of need it in one way or another. And you can correct me for saying this.
No, trust me, I'm right there with you. I do a lot of lives on my Facebook page, and that's exactly what I'm saying. I've lived in my neighborhood for 5 years, and I don't think I've seen kids. And it's great to see all these kids out riding their bikes, walking their dogs. We've had in our neighborhood, we had a scavenger hunt where everybody in the neighborhood, we have a Nextdoor app. So we had to put teddy bears in our windows so that the kids could come through and mark down their, how many teddy bears they saw. So to me, this is a time where leaders lead, innovators become, to me, the best people of all, because they come up with so many incredible ways to share, like you here with, wellness and business and everything. So I bring in this moment and cherish it. And I am happy that it happened, not in the way that you think, but like you said, getting back to basics, getting back to things that we haven't done in a really long time, like sitting down and eating a meal together, When's the last time you've done that, right? I mean, it's
forever ago. I mean, I was telling my family this. I said, I'm struggling with being home because I'm always on the go. So I had to rearrange my day. just being home because you're like go go go. So it's kind of like when you're always busy and you have some free time, you're like, am I forgetting something?
Right.
Like I feel like I forgot to do something. But now you're always into the, did I forget something? But I'm kind of enjoying this slow
Yeah.
pace.
Me
I'm
too.
like,
Me too.
okay, let's just kind of take things slow and enjoy it for a minute instead of going 100 miles per hour.
Exactly. And then that's when you can bring in habits like we were talking about meditation. So,
Mhm.
bringing in a daily meditation practice is crazy important. It's important at times like this, and
Yeah.
it's crazy important when, many of us like we work, some of us are home with kids and work, or, maybe we work from home. We have spouses at work. So starting your day off with a slow meditation, and I have to admit, I am ADD-erific. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. And starting your day just like that, just getting quiet in your mind, bringing in essential oils is a great way to do it. And here's why that is: because of the olfactory and the connection to the limbic part of the brain. There's a deep connection between scent and memory. So when we start these practices with essential oils like cedarwood, Palo Santo, whatever your oil of choice is, like I always, when I do these types of interviews, I'll say, I can give you a textbook answer, but
Hmm.
I constantly think essential oils choose us as much as we choose them, right? I mean, you can think of an oil. If I said to you, what does the scent of rose make you think of? Can you go back to a memory that the scent of rose, or maybe jasmine or
I can with Rose, yeah.
so that works the same way when you do a meditation. So if you use particular essential oils in your meditation, during the day, your mind body connection can get so deep that you can take that essential oil, and instead of spending 10, 15 minutes in that meditation, you can open it up and go, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and you're already there. So that's how that connection between the limbic part of the brain and how our mind body connects. And what I'd like to do, if it's okay with you, I can show you sort of a quick reset meditation.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Because I'm not good at it. So please do
Okay.
share.
Oh, I'm terrible. I tell you, I had to put in mudras and put in different practices into meditation to keep me focused. So if I was moving my fingers, I wasn't.
I can. My mind is like it's like a Ferrari going crazy.
Yeah.
I can. So
Yeah.
yes, please show me.
Okay, so choose an oil. There's like I said, textbook oils. You can choose lavender, bergamot for talking in the realm of supporting somebody who has anxiety.
Hmm.
What you would do is you would take your palm of your hand, you just stick a drop in, and what you're going to do is you're going to rub your hands together. And I know she knows all this, so this is for everyone else. But we can't multitask. We think we can multitask, but the brain, if we can ask it specific questions, it's here. It'll ground you, it'll put you in place. So, whatever those questions are, I know Mel Robbins does 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. A good friend of mine who's a neuropsychologist, when we did some anxiety work, she does a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, if there's a hobby you have, so what you do is you take your hands, you rub them together, you cup them over your nose, you take a deep breath in, and then you ask yourself a question. So, I'll say, open my eyes and I'll say, okay, name 5 colors I see in the room. So I have to be present, right? I have to see the room. I have to see the 5 colors, and then I say the 5 colors. Then I'll put myself outside now. So now I'm outside and I open my eyes and I say, name 4 cars you see. And then the mind comes back in because it's like, wait a minute, I can't be over here and I can't be over here. She just asked me a specific question. Now I've got to focus on this moment. And then you do it again. Deep breath in, and maybe it's 3 sounds that you hear, right? So you hear a fire truck, you hear the UPS drivers speeding down the street, maybe you hear some kids playing. Another deep breath in. Name 2 things that maybe you smell. I smell the pizzeria. I smell my neighbor's laundry dryer sheet, right? And then lastly, which this is the easiest one, name 1 thing that you hear or smell or anything like that. And I go back to, and actually with the first one, which number one is I like to name something you feel. So you're touching your body. So number one is touch your body. So I feel my cotton shirt or my denim jeans. So this allows your brain to shut off for
Mm-hmm.
5 seconds, but you can do that throughout the day. There's a lot of people I work with, like if they're going into a meeting, right? And every automatic negative thoughts going off, right? I don't know if I should be here. Am I going to be able to present in a way that they're going to hear it? It's just firing off all cylinders. I say, you know what? Go in the restroom, break out your little bottle. And guys I have lots of guys who do this too. They'll put the little bottle in their pocket, say, go in the stall, close the door, and you can say it to yourself. You don't have to say it out loud. And I'm sure there's 5 things you can find in the restroom. I'm sure there's things you can smell. But the fact that you can do this anywhere, any time of the day, it sort of just resets the mind and body and says, okay, now I'm present, I'm grounded, I'm here. Your feet are on the ground usually when you're doing it. You can do it lying in bed. But I would say this is a great way because, like you said, we're always so busy that our mind right now too is probably super confused, right? It's like, wait a minute, I'm usually super busy. Now what do I do? And that's when all the crazy
You
stuff.
have a freak out.
Yeah.
You're like, did I forget
Right.
something? What am I missing? Something
Yeah.
is wrong here? So you're like freaking out even more instead of being like, ooh, a moment to relax.
Exactly. And that too, there's all these other factors too, that when you're doing that, there's all these other parts of your body, like your adrenals, right? So our adrenals are connected to that fight or flight. And when we're in this sort of crisis mode, we're in that fight mode. So there's essential oils that we can use that sort of support our adrenals and keep us calm and like, okay, I can take a deep breath. Because I mean, turn on the news and you could lose your mind. I'm sure. Are you keeping it turned off? Because I'm trying my best.
So actually, I don't have cable. I refuse to have cable because if I have cable, I
Smart.
lose my time watching that. And I've decided to watch the silliest shows on Netflix or the stand-up comedies whenever I have time, just because I just want to laugh. And
Right.
even if I sit there and I think the joke is really funny, but I'm tired and I'm not like physically laughing, I'll still go like,
Hey,
and I seem to be doing that a lot, and my mind is out of the news.
well, let me tell you, I try to stay as far away from it as possible. But of course, you want to keep yourself informed. But I stream everything anyway. And I think if you went on any type of social media platform, you could probably find an overwhelming amount of stuff that is out there. So
I said this before too, but I feel like sometimes, and I don't mean to neglect and actually underestimate the situation that we're all going through,
right,
but we have a story in Albania that if it goes ear to ear to ear, and if media gets involved, if it's a hair on the floor, they say it's a piece of wood on the floor, and everybody's
right,
tripping. Like
right,
like sometimes it just like space yourself out. It's not easy, but you
right.
have to.
Oh yeah, because it escalates, right? I mean, like you said, remember the telephone game for us older folks that are out there when you played that as a kid? By the time
Yeah.
it got to the last kid, it was totally not what the original message was. And there's ways too to sort of, I think too, being locked in the house, we get kind of down. Maybe we're in places, I know there's a lot of places where it's still winter, you can't get outside as much. So the ways to help with that with essential oils is you can diffuse essential oils that sort of, keep us up and happy, like tangerine and orange. Anything citrus to me
Yeah.
uplifts. I mean, I grew up in Florida, so there's all sorts of memories connected to citrus and playful memories. I used to go horseback riding in the orange grove. So for me, that's something that's uplifting.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think too, this is also a great time because many people are home homeschooling their kids, that you can try to experiment. I mean, Amazon delivers everything. If you want to try different things, if you want essential oils delivered, you can get those delivered. There's all sorts of companies. Young Living is a company that they'll deliver them to your door, and you can teach your kids about those essential oils.
Yeah.
Teach them about botanicals and herbs and how they work. And it's fun for them to be able to smell them, get to learn about them. So there's sort of a at-home homeschool class built in just by doing that.
So I want to go back to a little bit for kids. So
Sure.
how is everything going on with the situation of kids being home, everybody being home for you? You helped your daughter before through school, homeschooling and everything. What can you help for parents out there? Because since like this is also another big issue where
Yes.
I mean, I've been hearing some crazy stories or some crazy pictures.
Yeah. I like the ones where it's like, if I don't, one I read today was if my parent was something about their parents finding a vaccine before the CDC because they couldn't wait to get rid of their kids, so they were going to work really hard because again, we're in this whole new environment, right? Many partners or spouses have not been under the same roof like this in decades, right? So you have to find a way to adjust to that. It's like, okay, wait a minute. You usually go to work. Why are you still here? And then, like you said, you have kids, and it is stressful for them too.
But sometimes parents unfortunately don't realize how crazy their kids can be, so they need to appreciate
Right.
their future more too.
Yes. You have to appreciate your teachers now more than ever, everyone, just so you know. There's some oils that you can do also when we're talking about, like, we're having to create this new thing at home.
Mm-hmm.
They have the energy of what's going on, right? Which can be super stressful. They know you're stressed as much as we'd like to pretend that they don't know we're stressed. They know. And again, there's that financial stress. So there's everything going on. So first recommendation is, when you are bringing home schools back to your house, is create a space that's just for that. If you can, that's super helpful because it allows that sort of, hey, when I show up, this is where I know I'm doing schoolwork. If it has to be at the kitchen table, okay. It's good to create that time that you're there, whatever time that is. I always recommend doing, especially with littler kids, 30 minutes is max, and then take a break. But you can diffuse oils like peppermint, vetiver, and oils that you can use to help them keep focused.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of help them keep alert, and keep them sort of like, okay, I'm on paper. And then once you get through the 30 minutes, my idea is if you can do some stretching, maybe some jumping jacks, get outside for 5 minutes or 10 minutes and take a walk. Those would be things that I would do if you're, with the littler people. Jumping jacks, Vanessa said, that's a great one too. So it's physical along with it, because let me tell you, the wiggles, and that's what I call them, are going to be at a whole high, much higher level. Because to be honest with you, when they're in school, most kids don't get a lot of moving around time. So, but they're at home, so they're used to the moving around time. So if you can get them outside between the breaks and do 30 to 45 minutes at a time, that's what I would do for sure. And then sort of move from there.
And so on myself, for example, I started using essential oils. Unfortunately, I have to have a back surgery because people sometimes drive crazy and they hit you from the back, But I started using essential oils after my surgery because I was in so much pain and I wanted something different. And
Right.
I realized it, and I started not doing the smell, but I started rubbing it on my forehead. I read somewhere that it helps you for headaches or it
Oh,
helps
it's
you for
great.
pain. And
It's
it
great.
does. And I was amazed with it. And since then, I always use essential oils now. And
Yeah.
sometimes I use it on the living room or my parents' house, and they all get excited because they feel like they're in the spa. But spas use essential oils for the longest
Yes.
time, and they've always done it.
Yes.
What are some other businesses that they can use essential oils or some other places to relax, maybe make that place perfect for you to
Sure.
fully concentrate?
Well, there's a lot of, so let's stay in the school lane for just one more minute. there's a lot of tutoring places, right? So you see many, many, many tutoring places. And I think having a diffuser there, that would be helpful, to keep everybody sort of focused. Lisa just said her dentist uses it.
Yeah.
I tell you, I cannot stand the dentist. Like the dentist. I had braces forever. So even though that's an orthodontist, you still had to visit the dentist. So a dentist office is a great place. Schools and classrooms, the only bugaboo about that is I do have a dear friend who's a teacher and they tried to bring that into a classroom. There's a lot of parents that aren't really comfortable about that. So if you're in a private school or a Montessori school, that may be something. But I would definitely talk. I know that they had to talk to the school board because, again, it's always trying to navigate what people are comfortable with.
Yeah.
Gynecologist office, proctologist office, when, colonoscopy time.
That would take the nerves out thinking of it now.
Yeah, think about it. I mean, there are a lot of places. And in a more serious note, there was a lot of research studies done with bergamot, like when they used it for rehab centers. So, like when people came in, if you're checking into a rehab, right, this is not a fun time in your life. You're probably at the lowest point of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Started using bergamot during this check-in process they found out very quickly that it allowed them to be much more comfortable, not confident, comfortable. And what happens is bergamot can help lower the heart rate, lower the cadence of your breath, and allow you to feel like, okay, this is really tough for me, but I feel like I have this support now. And they've always used it in facilities like that. So that's another type of area of psychiatry office. I know one of the people that I have done work with before, her name is Catherine Gruner, and she's a neuropsychologist. She uses oils all the time during her practice and before her practice. So there's endless amounts of places. Veterinarian offices, another great place. I do a lot with major medical and fosters with dogs and cats.
I wouldn't think veterinarian office though.
Yeah, dogs are, let me tell you, that is one of my wheelhouses. So we work with major medicals with Austin Pets Alive, and I do a lot of essential oil work with the dogs that we get.
Okay.
Most of them are anxious messes because they've either been on the streets, abusive homes. So we come up with particular blends using lavender, chamomile, sandalwood, and it's a great way because most dogs do not like being at the vet. I don't know if your dog is.
No, I actually have plenty videos of my dog. She knows exactly the vet is at the end of the store, so she will do whatever it is to avoid it. So no, they feel it even when you're getting close to the vet office.
So here's a good idea for you. So when you're going to the vet, they have these amazing diffusers that you can use in your car. So you put a drop or two of lavender or sandalwood, whatever it is, put it in your car, and your dog will be super chill by the time she shows up at the vet.
I'm going to try the next time because she's a 12-pound fluff, but she thinks she owns the neighborhood.
Well, small dogs usually are the boss. We all have to know that.
Yes, she runs the house, I swear. How can essential oils help you on your anxiety issues too, especially if you're having, maybe to prevent a panic attack or just to relax your nerves? Because at the end of the day, anxiety is just a feeling. It's a fear that we have and overwhelming. I mean, 4 months ago, I stopped taking my own anxiety medications and I'm doing much better. But it's not something people find it easy to talk about. So what would you suggest for those that are dealing with it, or maybe they're on the verge of it, and especially with everything going on, what can they do?
Sure. So you can use essential oils. And I also would say, because this is where it sort of goes into my health coaching aspect too, is having a really good probiotic, because gut health and your serotonin, 90% of that comes from your gut. So that's your feel-good hormone. That's that hormone that keeps us balanced and not going down the rabbit hole, right? So food, I always think food is the first medicine. Trying to stay away from caffeines and things like that, alcohol, if you can. Those would be things that actually tick up if you're somebody who has anxiety. A lot of people think, oh, if I'm drinking, I'm fine. It's help. No, it's not. It's just putting the Band-Aid, sort of like if you are somebody like, I'm not comfortable taking anxiety meds. Alcohol is like your choice of anxiety med then. So, using essential oils in concert with good nutrition, proper supplements, and oils that you can use are geranium, jasmine, like we mentioned before, bergamot, and you can even use them in a diffuser, or you could use the technique that I showed you. You can use them behind your ear, is another good.
Behind the ear?
Yeah.
Why there?
Reason being is I like to use it where I have a closer range of smelling it. And there's also pressure points in the ears. You can use it, the pressure points, the Vitaflex points on your feet. Feet are a great way if you're going to do with absorption. So what happens when you put it on your feet, and I know she's a science whiz, don't let her kid you. She knows more than she claims to know. So, as we know, when we put things, they have to process through the liver, right? So, when we put it on the bottom of our feet, the oil skips that process of the liver absorption and moves right into the body. So, using oils like lavender and cedarwood before bed on the bottom of the feet, because again, sleep hygiene is super important if you have anxiety issues. Sleep hygiene is like you need rest, you need your adrenals to get what they need. So putting some oils on the bottom of your feet at night, another great way to help anxiety.
I have a lavender lotion. I actually finished it, so don't have it here, unfortunately. But I did that a lot, like on my arms, like on my elbows and my arms and on my feet. And sometimes I'd be like, this is so silly. My feet are so soft.
No,
But it actually does help to just relax you. And like I always felt like it was like a mind thing. Like I went to sleep easier. But it's actually a thing. Like I always thought it was my mind just putting me to
it's
sleep
actually
more.
both because your mind will start to put the connection between when I smell lavender, I feel super relaxed and I can go to sleep now. So there is that connection between mind body constantly when you're using essential oils. So you were right.
How about for those people that, because not everybody welcomes, every idea. For
Sure.
example, my father, whenever I put essential oil, my mom loves it. She feels like she's at a spa. She'll put like rainy music on TV and like fully enjoy it. And then my dad on the other side would be like, "What is this smell?" And how do you kind of help him cope with that or work with that so we can kind of try to ease him into it?
Sure. It's always good to start with gentler smells. I think a lot of people, when they use essential oils, they don't realize the less is more approach is the best approach because
Mm.
it's the pure essence of that plant. So think about when you're cooking and you're using fresh herbs, right? If you're using fresh rosemary, that's pretty pungent. So imagine when you're using the pure essence of that rosemary in an essential oil. It's super pungent. Same with peppermint. So I like to use gentler oils. I'm more of a woodsy gal. I know lots of people like rose or jasmine or, like I said, geranium. I'm more of like a sandalwood, maybe a little patchouli, maybe a little sprinkle of myrrh. Frankincense is another great oil. So, and men tend to like their more woodsy scents. So I would say that'd be a good place, or even using something like citrus. Again, you're in Florida, right? So
Yeah.
that would be another great way to
And
bring.
even in my home in Albania, we had like clementine tree.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
there's
the
clementine
orange.
essential oil. So there you go. So that would even maybe make him think of a memory when you were back in Albania. And then that'll be like, wait a minute, why do I like that scent so much? So there is that deep connection too, subconscious, conscious mind with essential oil. So he won't even know you're playing the trickery. Just be like, wait a minute, I feel like I'm back in
He doesn't
Albania.
have a Facebook either.
Exactly.
Lisa says, I used to not like them at all, and now I love them. I love how they make me feel. That is very true.
Yeah.
Like I said, I started using them after my surgery, and before I was like, what is this? Once you use it, you get addicted because they're
Oh,
very relaxing.
Jennifer had a question. I don't know if we can.
Yes, that's the one that I'm about to go to.
Okay, good. I like that one.
So she said, we have a dog at home and we can go to the groomers right now and we can do baths. Do you recommend a safe oil blend to help with the not so pleasant aroma coming from her?
Okay, so
I feel
yes.
like this is for a lot of people, Jennifer, at this times with puppies.
Yeah. So actually, most people are very familiar with lavender, and lavender is a super gentle scent, and it is a great. It supports, the skin. It helps with relaxing, and the best part is with dogs. Once it gets in there, the funny part is once they sweat, they smell like it. And people laugh, but they do.
Wait, come again?
Okay, so I had the stinkiest pit bull ever, like sweaty pits, and she reeks. I love her dearly, but she like does armpit sweat. So what I did was I made a spray bottle of sandalwood. I like patchouli, like I said, some lavender and a little bit of lemon. And what I took, I make like a hydrosol. You take a little bit of distilled water. You need to put something in it so that because water and oils don't mix. Put a little bit of witch hazel, maybe a little bit of glycerin, and then I literally spray her pits like it's deodorant.
I didn't know pets sweat to begin with.
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
have a dog and she runs like bananas. I had no idea that was a
Yeah,
thing.
they sweat. Yeah. Well, they sweat too, but panting. But you'll look like on her face, she'll get like almost damp here and under her stinky pits. So it's not like the typical sweat like we do.
Mm-hmm.
Pant, hence that's how they relieve the heat from them. But yeah,
Yeah.
anyway, and then another way to do it is spray it on a brush or put a few drops on a brush and then brush the dog. So that's helpful too.
I think I'm gonna try to use the brush one because my little monster, when she sees a brush, when she sees her brush, like no matter what she's doing, she'll
Right.
just jump and get in front of you. So
See? There you
that
go.
is awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think we have another question. Let's see. Doesn't matter whose essential oils I use, are they all the same? This question is from Leslie.
No. My biggest thing is I always tell people I recommend oils that are third party tested. Like I said, I use a lot of Young Living oils, reason being because of that. They're third party tested. Make sure their procurement process is good. There's no FDA regulation on essential oils. So
There's none.
none, zilcho. So when you're buying an essential oil and it says an essential oil,
Mm-hmm.
can be one drop of that essential oil, and it can be called an essential oil. So when I mean regulatory,
Like concentration wise?
yes, because see, it's almost like the supplement world, right? We know how the FDA is sort of in there, but not really in there, and then
Kind of swerving by. Yeah.
yeah, and they finally come in when the shit hits the fan, and then it's too late.
Too late.
So, so it's the same thing with essential oils. Is you can look at a bottle wherever that is, and it'll say, oh, it's, whatever essential oil. And 9 times out of 10, it will not say 100% pure.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it'll say, it only has to have one drop. And the FDA will allow you to call it an essential oil. Because what they'll do is they'll connect a carrier, quote unquote, oil. And for people who don't know what a carrier oil is, that's like apricot oil, almond oil, olive oil. So they assume that's in that same lane. So it could be 90% olive oil and 10%, let's use lavender again, and they'll call that an essential oil. So
are they negative side effects from it because you need to get the good, the
I would
correct
say,
one?
yeah, I would say I would not use a company that does not proclaim to be a pure therapeutic grade. I know there's some argument over the word therapeutic grade, but I would just say instead of using therapeutic grade, like 100% pure essential.
Mm-hmm.
That being because, again, you don't know what's in there. And because, as we know with, like we know it's supplements, right? I mean, there was a big article that came out, I think in the Washington Post, that showed like, holy smokes, we had no idea that supplements weren't regulated. And look at all the stuff. They started doing tests on what's really in there. And 90% of the time, what they said was,
Wasn't this back in like 2015, 2016? Because a lot
yeah,
of cases start coming
yeah,
out about side effects. I remember
yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. And they started pulling bottles and saying, wait a minute, and that's where the gray areas, when I was in formulating, that's when I really learned like, wow, there is a lot of gray when it comes to holistic type supplements and essential oils because it's not considered a drug per se. So it's not regulated like let's say the drugs that you get the side effects that are this long, cause death, those are regulated oddly enough, and you can buy.
Yeah.
but these not so much. So I would just say, make sure that it's 100% pure, make sure it's therapeutic grade. How they procure them is super important. Where they, because there's a lot of companies that have gotten in trouble with, taking advantage of the land or the people on the land. So that would be something else that I would definitely, do your research. It's really
Yeah.
do your research.
So to kind of answer a little bit more Leslie's question, we have 365 essential oils for everyday.com. Tell us about that, because we know we can trust that
Sure.
source.
Sure. So I share a ton about essential oils, all sorts of ways to use essential oils. And really, a good place to dive in deep with me is I have a Facebook by the same name, and I'm in there often. You really get more access to me there. You can ask all sorts of questions. Every Wednesday, I do an Ask Me Wednesday, and we talk about from, like when you were talking about, hey, I had a back surgery. What's some great oils I could use? Or, hey, I'm dieting. Can you recommend some oils that could help? I see that I piqued some interest.
Hold on. Yes, I did. Come back again.
All right. I'm going to reel it in. I'm going to reel it back. I did this in a live the other day, and a lot of people are like, what? So there was a doctor by the name of Dr. Alan Hirsch, and he did a research study with 3,000 participants way back in the day. And what they found was, big reason why, and this is about a time where I think my friend was saying the other day, she needs a social distance from her refrigerator because we're stuck at home, right? And we're not gonna make good choices right now.
That's one social distancing I'm not doing.
So really, a lot of times we eat food as an emotional support, right? For a lot of us. Maybe we're not feeling satiated, so we're not feeling full, maybe because of what we're eating. So what he found was he took these 3,000 participants, and most of them were horrible when it came down to wellness programs, right? They went through everything, Weight Watchers, you name it. They tried it, failed miserably. So what he did is he said, okay, I'm going to do this simple experiment. 30 minutes before you eat, diffuse some peppermint oil. All right. Writing it down. Okay. So you take the peppermint. I take it a little bit further. For those who know me are probably not surprised, because I tend to go out of the research and then add in my own flair. I take a little shot glass. It's almost like an aperitif. So you're from Albania, and those types of countries, you use sambuca, anisette, right? So this time, instead of using after the meal, you're going to use it before the meal.
Okay.
And after too. You take this little 4-ounce shot of distilled water. You put about 2 drops of peppermint in it. You've got your peppermint diffusing in the background. And you take a quick sip of the peppermint essential oil in the shot. You just woof it down like a shot of tequila. And it does a few things. So what he found through this study was that whole idea of feeling satiated, feeling full, came so quickly that many of these participants actually had to leave the study because they lost too much weight.
Sign me up.
So
that's the problem I'm trying to have.
Yeah. So, and then the good news is when you're using peppermint in your
Lisa says I am so trying this.
So when you're using the peppermint too, when you're taking that little shot, it's also helping with supporting your digestion, getting things moving like they would. And that also helps because a lot of times, and again, when you're eating healthy, you're eating a lot of roughage. So it causes you to be a little more gassy, a little more bloated. So this is another great way to kind of help that process along. So it's just a little tip.
So this would help with the processing, because one thing, like for example, if you see me and my brother, we can eat exact the same thing, but water turns into fat for me and water just goes down on him. So my digestive system is very slow. Like even my grandma can run faster on a treadmill, I say. It's super slow.
Well, and ginger essential oil is great for that too. Yeah, ginger essential oil is really good for supporting digestion. I mean, it's used in so many types of Eastern cooking, and if you noticed, just add those dots together. And that's because they use so much ginger, and ginger is great for digestion. It helps support things. Again, that whole idea of gas, bloating, good gut health. Again, we go back to good gut health. So, that would be another essential oil that I would totally add to, your daily routine. You can add it to shakes too. If you're not somebody who's like, oh, I don't want to do a shot. In the morning, I always add a couple of shots of cinnamon bark, like a shot of cinnamon bark, one little drop, because the less is more approach, especially if you're somebody who needs support with your insulin levels. Cinnamon bark is great. Tons of research that supports that, balancing your sugar.
Cinnamon bark.
Cinnamon bark essential oil.
This is good for people with diabetes too.
Yeah, it would support your insulin levels for sure. So I use a plant-based shake. I'm not vegan, but my daughter is, so everything I have to do, that sort of stuff, is all plant-based. I load it up with antioxidants, my berries, whatever that is for the day. And then I'll add a few drops of lemon and grapefruit, which helps with metabolism if we're going back to weight. And then I'll add in either cinnamon bark or peppermint. So those are some other oils.
So I'm not a shot person. I'm more of like a beer person, but I'm definitely going to take shots of these.
Hey, you know what? Add a couple drops of orange or lemon to your beer. It'll bring your beer to a whole new level.
Is that why they add?
I add it to everything. I make the best margaritas.
Is that why they add that to Blue Moon and it just tastes so much better with that?
Yes. But see, think about all the healthy benefits you're getting when you add it to your margarita or your beer or whatever it is. You can like sort of convince people like, hey, wait a minute, I'm getting health benefits while I'm drinking my beer. Just saying.
I'm so using that line.
I mean, come on. I mean, why not?
Okay, what else don't we know? Because I had no idea I could help with dieting. What else don't we know? You just opened a whole new door for me.
Okay.
And I'm taking notes over here. So if you guys see me like writing down, this is what I'm doing.
Well, let's go back to sort of to where we are now. Think about it. Immune support, right?
Mm-hmm.
Immune support. These oils you could use for the same way. You can, and many of them, like clove and cinnamon, you can add those to your shake, and those are awesome for immune support. They actually did a study. They took several essential oils, all of which, like peppermint, orange, lemongrass is a little too strong for me, but I like it in certain foods. And took it, and we're talking antimicrobials at this point, right? They tested it against 22, and out of 22, no more. So this is something that people don't realize, that these essential oils, first of all, they've been used forever. They've been used since the dawn of time. I mean, think about it, right? Read the Bible. I mean, that's how many times are oils mentioned throughout the Bible? I mean, the big anointing of Jesus's feet was with essential oils. So we knew that, forever, that oils could heal, support healing us, support our immune system, support our adrenals, support our health, support our mind. And now it's great for me, who's somebody's been using them for almost 20 years, seeing that everybody's talking about them.
Yeah.
But make sure you're, using common sense. You just don't go out and grab something off the grocery store and start putting it in. But there's tons of information out there.
But that's where it goes. The regulations are not in play, and unfortunately, not the ones that need to be mentioned are not getting the credit for.
Exactly. So you want to use reputable sources. Robert Tirasan is, to me, one of my gurus, and he wrote a whole book about essential oil safety. And I tell people, you know what? It's a little expensive, but you know what? If you're going to add something into your regular daily practice, have the knowledge to do it. You don't have to go and spend a billion years like me to become a aromatherapist and a practitioner and all of that, but you can have some really good common sense, areas that you want to know where you can feel good about using the oil safely.
Is there any, like, somebody that, you don't have to mention names, I just thought of this. Is there like a story or somebody that just by the use of the essential oils changed a lot of their lifestyle or their health or even their mindset?
Sure. I have people work with all the time. I've had clients.
You don't have to mention names.
I mean, not me.
I had somebody one time actually mention a name and they're like, wait, hold on, can we delete it? I was like, I don't think I can.
No, but I have had clients. I do a lot of work with people who have been through trauma. And I'll do oil techniques, or we'll do breathing techniques through, and we'll go through sort of questions and sort of work them through the process. And I've had people say, I have literally been holding on to this stuff for 30, 40 years. And this has definitely changed my life, or changed my
She
aspect.
started when she was born, you guys. That's how old she is. She's 30 years old.
Yeah, right. No. But, and there's also like people that I've helped with wellness that, and I've seen many stories too of other practitioners that have used oils where they've said, I have, like I said, I mentioned Catherine Gruner in the beginning. She works with a lot of kids that are gifted. And when she started bringing oils into her practice and seeing how this helped kids that, a lot of kids that are gifted struggle, and she couldn't believe the difference. And the parents were coming in going, wow, he's laser focused, and he's, on top of things, and things are moving at a much better pace. Maybe he's not as anxious to go into school, because a lot of these gifted kids struggle, right? They're not treated like they should, by all the other kids. So there's all sorts of stories that the power of what they can do. And they are extremely powerful, should always be treated with respect. That's the one thing that's why I started my Facebook community, because I saw all the crap that was out there. And I hate to use that word, but it was a lot of people saying some really off the wall stuff that was super irresponsible. And I created a page where it was like, listen, I don't have all the answers, that's for sure. I'm constantly learning. But if you have a question and I can't get it, I have resources, or I'll go find it for you. So that's something that, is important.
And since you said if you have questions, I'll find the
Sure.
answer for you. We have a question from Jennifer. It was perfect timing. She says, I'm very sensitive to artificial scents and chemicals. Can I use essentials to make my own cleaner to disinfect my house?
Sure. And a great way to do it now, because I know a lot of people are like, you go to the store and there's not much there. Really, I want to stress this even more now than ever, too. Using chemicals is the worst thing you can do for your immune system. I mean, every endocrine study on the planet will tell you that chemicals attack the body, and they are not good, and they actually will make your immune system a lot less, well functioning as it should be. So using chemical free items, and I would say vinegar is a great base to use, since most of us are home now, right? You can add oils like lemon. And I like to say that because a lot of people will say, well, I don't think it smells good unless it smells like lemon. Why? Because our memory is our mom used to clean with lemon pledge or lemon oil. So there's that connection between clean and lemon. You can use oils like lavender, eucalyptus, rosemary. So there's all sorts of and eucalyptus is one of those oils that, when they did that study on antimicrobials, was one of the top oils too, for that 22 of 22. So that would be another great oil to add to a vinegar based.
And correct me here, my English is like my third language, so sometimes I misspell stuff.
3 languages. She has to brag. Say 3. Barely speak 1 right.
How do you thieves? I don't know what that
Thieves,
is.
yes. So that is a product. I know that a lot of people like Thieves Cleaner. It's a product from Young Living. And a little backstory on how it got the name was, back during the Black Plague, there was these bandits that use these, and it's stories told all over, but they use these, they covered their face, and they were robbing the dead and everybody else. And they couldn't figure out, when they finally got caught, I'm shortening the story here, alive. Like, how the hell are you still alive? You're robbing from dead people that had the plague. And what they found out was they used a blend of essential oils, hence the name of this cleaner that now is called Thieves, then they covered their body from head to toe with, it was cloves, cypress, lemon. There's all these different oils. And lo and behold, there you go. And Vanessa is sharing her own cleaner with vinegar. So there you go. So that's a perfect one.
3 cups of water. So this is gonna be on an audio too for RM Podcast FL. So it says 3 cups of water, 1 cup vinegar, half a cup of liquid dish soap, 10 drops of lemon, and 10 drops of orange oil.
And a great dish soap to use is something your grandmother probably used. As a soap to use on that would be Castile soap. So that's a plant-based, olive oil-based soap. Every grandma, great grandma on the planet is familiar with it. And that would be a great soap to add. It's not maybe as sudsy because we associate suds with clean, but really suds are chemicals. So, but that's a great way to use it. And yeah,
She says that's for an all-purpose cleaner. Nice.
yeah, that's great. Thanks, Vanessa.
Thank you, Vanessa, for sharing that. Yeah, in Albania we have this. Have you ever tried the Albanian traditional juice?
What is that? Do tell.
So my dad loves to call it Albanian juice. So when we have family over or friends over,
trademark it now.
so he says, "Here, have a shot of lemon Albanian juice." And that's straight up. A lot of my friends, these are my friends common, they say it's straight up gasoline. So we use that for disinfecting. We use that to take it as a shot instead of vodka. A lot of people take their Turkish coffee and a shot of that. So that's multi-purpose. Which
cleans your stove and your insides.
Everything. So in Albanian culture, we like I've been here for 10 years now. So, but it's very traditional. So whenever we were joking that there were like the shops are out of hand sanitizers, my mom pulled up a bottle of it and said, "Hey guys, we're gonna go back to our traditions."
There you go. Well, and that's it. And you can do all that stuff. That's the greatest thing about essential oils is you can create you can create hand sanitizers.
I want to actually try to mix that with, because lavender and mint is one of my favorite, like are two of my favorites. So I actually wanted to try to do a little bit of experiment with that. I want to try to see how those two work together.
It's great. And actually on that list of essential oils that were on the antimicrobial list, lavender is on there.
Jennifer has a question.
Sure.
She says, "I use Dawn, the one they use on the animals. Is that okay?"
I'm going to say I know why they use it on animals, because it was a degreaser and they use it for animals that were stuck in oil slicks. But I would not use Dawn because it is loaded with chemicals. Dogs are super sensitive. And the crazy thing is people aren't realizing more and more dogs are getting cancer and thyroid disorders. And that's because their endocrine system is getting walloped with chemicals. So if you could just use simple, like I said, simple Castile soap, there's a lot of natural soaps you can get on Amazon. I know, so there's other ones that you could use. I like to make mine because I like to just create, shampoos and stuff like that. Like I said, my dog is extra stinky, so I like to add a bunch of different types of oils.
So when Charles is just enjoying all this interview so far. Good. I'm glad.
I'm glad.
We had some great interaction from the audience. Yeah. We will wrap this thing up, you guys, soon. So whatever questions you have, go ahead and type it up. Let us know to make sure that we can answer that for you. Let's see here. Myers?
No. Only reason why is, this will go back to my whole chemical thing because I'm a freak about chemicals. If anything says it has a fragrance, it's a chemical and an endocrine disruptor. And what endocrine disruptors do, ladies, just so you know, especially even young people, they jack with our hormones. So when we're talking things like infertility, or we're talking things like batshit crazy menopause, we don't need anything that's going to mess with these endocrine parts of our body that regulate so much. So fragrance oils, anything, when we're talking cosmetics, we're talking cleaners, anything that has any type of fragrance, that is an endocrine disruptor. And I promise you, ladies, and the scary part is women don't realize you're transferring that to your kids, because many babies are born with at least 110 more chemicals in their umbilical cords. So I know it's a tough thing to digest, but everything you put on, your skin is your biggest organ. So think about it. You're absorbing it all. It's going into the body. Then you're passing it on. So just a heads up.
Quick question. You mentioned menopause. How can essential oils help on that? Because the hormones are very have some very interesting roller coaster, levels at that time sometimes.
Oh, you're speaking to the middle of it. I am in the middle of it. And to be honest with you, I've actually done a lot better than I thought because my mother had horrible menopause. Imagine being 16 and your mom going through menopause. Not
Ooh,
yeah. Woo. 16
16 your time at that
hormones.
time.
Yeah.
Run away from home.
Exactly. So there's a lot of hormone type. I like clary sage is one of my personal favorites. Um, oh yeah, they can. And there's a lot of women that'll say to me, I've had a hysterectomy. I don't have my organs. But the thing is everything's being regulated through your thyroid, your hormones, and your endocrine system. Even though those parts are gone, you can still regulate hormones. They're still there. The hormones didn't leave. They're still there. So again, putting things on your feet using those VitaFlex. And VitaFlex, if you can look that up, it's a great, it'll show you how to use them. You add the oils to the bottom of your feet. You hit some pressure points in there. There's areas that can help. And again, nutrition when it comes to menopause is another biggie. Staying away from sugar, staying away from caffeines, because like I did a joke one time. I said, I look like Medusa and because that's it. I mean, I'm terrified. But I do like clary sage. Sclerescence is another oil I really like. Lavender is another oil. And I also think too, not everything is going to work the same for every person.
Yeah.
So I always, find a few that you can try out and find what works best for you. Because again, I go back to my original comment. A lot of times oils choose us as much as we choose them. And our body can sort of connect and have, I know it sounds sort of wooey, but I truly believe that because of that whole mind body connection. So I would just say experiment too. What works for you may not work for everybody else.
Somebody else, yeah. And I have thyroid. Hold on, for a moment. Thyroid.
Thyroid?
Yeah, I have thyroid issue myself. Whenever it comes to, so sometimes I'm very moody. So I'm like, let me explain. It's not me. It's something in here that
Oh
blocks
yeah.
it.
Yeah, I've lived in the thyroid world for I don't know now 12 years. This my daughter has Hashimoto's, so and again, like you said, mood, and that goes to show you like
Yes, a lot of
aspects
mood
of your
swings
body regulates so much. Our temperature, right? So it's not just your ovaries, your thyroid's regulating your temperature. A lot of people have thyroid issues. I'm always so hot or I'm always so cold. So there's ways that you can use, oils for that as well. Endoflex is a great essential oil blend, and it uses things like spearmint and cypress. So there's other things that you can do to help out with that as well.
Yeah, because I started using essential oils after my surgery, and I started using the lotion that I use when I came to find out from a regular checkup, just some blood work. They said I had thyroid issues, and I said, "Well, I'm always moody, or it's always like, hey, when Romina has her days, just leave me to it." But it's like nothing. Like it's something that sometimes I just cannot control. But
Right.
that lotion with the lavender, going back to the lavender, that does help a lot with the lavender smell. And then I actually have it on the living room right now because that's where we stay all the time to try
Right.
to relax the mood.
That's
Feel like we're at
perfect.
the spa.
And there's things like we did that exercise in the beginning, just taking a few drops when you're in that mode of, I'm not feeling
I'm
right.
trying that because my brain, like I said, goes 200 miles per hour. So I feel like if I say something, like I do this to sometimes set myself down. Like I would be like, Romina 1, Romina 2, Romina 3. And
That's
then at
it.
the end, I go to 10 and I say, think, think, think. And I try to relax myself with that. But I feel I'm going to try that one, honestly, because I feel like if I get asked the question, I'm the person that wants to know the answer for. So if I
Right.
say, what do you feel? Or what colors do you see? So let's go over it again. What,
Okay.
so what, the
So,
questions.
oh, you can pick any five, but if
Oh,
try to keep five that are present to where you're at. So if I
gotcha.
my room right now, I could say, name five colors I see. Name 4 pictures I see, because there's 4 pictures in the room. Name 3 books that I see. Name 2 things that I hear. And lastly, name 1 thing that you smell, which obviously.
So it's 5, just choose.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and again, a lot of times, even another great way to do it is how to start your day that way. Is things you're grateful for. You want to start your day in a positive way. Start it, get some citrus oil, take a few deep breaths, and name 5 things you're grateful for.
I do that every night. I have a little thing that I do, one thing that I'm grateful for, no matter how bad of a day I have.
Yeah.
It helps.
Yeah. So that's there's a lot of ways that you can do that. So that's helpful.
Awesome. Well, I feel like we covered a lot of great information. A lot. I'm glad we actually did this, because number one, I'm gonna lose weight because of this too.
All right, I'm gonna check back.
I'm gonna start taking health shots. Everybody that listens to this, we're gonna start keeping each other accountable. I mean, last comments, we see people have some hearts. People saying OMG, but Lisa said OMG earlier. I mean, overall, we had some really great feedbacks. And then Jennifer says, I'm so grateful for the session. I have learned so much. Thank you, Jennifer, for tuning in.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you. Lisa said this was so fantastic. So where can people get a hold of you? I'm sure they're going to have a lot of follow-up questions, or they'll be like, I did this, but what do I do next? Where can we get a hold of you?
Sure. Best place, everybody's on Facebook, since we're streaming on Facebook. Head over. I have a Facebook page called 365 Essential Oils for Every Day. You get access to me. I do one-on-ones. I do lives. That's the best way if you want to ask questions and do something a little more interactive.
Perfect. And then we also have the website at the bottom, you guys. We have the website too. Vanessa says you're amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Thank you, Vanessa. So we have the website, and then I'll go ahead and attach all the information too. So whatever questions we have, you can definitely go ahead and get a hold of Andrea. Thank you so much for being a part of our podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everybody. Make sure to check our website and make sure to look at the details. We'll attach all the information there. And stay tuned to our Facebook page, because we're doing something different recently. We're just doing more lives and everything. So whatever questions you have, go ahead and let us know. Have a good one.
Bye.